Well, before both you and Bill exit the company, the Hollywood Blondes become a thing, and man, it's just magic. Brian Pillman and stunning Steve Austin. Stone Cold wrote his book. When we came up with the Hollywood Blondes idea, I think Raven came up with our name first. JR told me in the early 70s there was another Hollywood Blondes tag team consisting of a veteran wrestler named Jerry Brown, who'd once swore he'd shoot Cowboy Bill Watts, and Buddy Roberts, who was to become known as one of the members of the Fabulous Freebirds. Those guys had some good heat going with the fans, and JR thought we were a good update on that concept. I love that he sort of gives you credit for the idea. That's fantastic.
Well, that was my job, Connie. You just you see something, speak up. Don't keep it a secret. I thought there was some magic with those two guys. I really did. My exit, I left there in early '93.
Yes.
I went to WWE, and I called WrestleMania 9. God, it's hard to believe that I was on a show, WrestleMania 9, and now I don't know what number they're up to, 30 something. But it's crazy, man. So
later, man, they just did 39. You just passed 30 years from that.
That's amazing, isn't it?
It is.
So it's but I thought both those guys were magic. The key there is getting the office, the final decision makers, in this case Watts, to tag into a tag team and make a tag team stars. Whereas a lot of bookers like to have that one star. Flair had partners. He had the Horsemen, but Nash was always a star when he was by himself,
right?
Too, and so we'll see how that would end up working out. But, I love that little tag team with Austin and Pillman. They just are exciting. They're creative. They didn't do a lot of replicated moves. They just were it. And there's just no telling if things that worked out differently, how far they would have gone as a tag team. I think they would have revolutionized the tag team scene and would have become one of the greatest tag teams of all time.
We should mention that as you're leaving WCW for the WWF, the Blondes are going to win the tag straps from Ricky Steamboat and Shane Douglas in Macon, Georgia. And they had some phenomenal matches. You weren't there for most of those, but business really goes into the toilet during that summer. Flair signed back in the WCW after leaving the WWF, and they put together a feud with Pillman and Austin being the young, obnoxious heels against the veterans Flair and Arn. And that's going to build up to Flair's first match back in WCW. It's a Clash of the Champions. And as a reminder, when Flair first jumps back to WCW, he's doing like a talk show segment called The Flair for the Gold. Well, Brian and Steve have a little fun and do a parody of it called A Flair for the Old. And the actual Clash show happens, it gets a 2.6 rating, which unfortunately is the lowest Clash rating in history. And the committee, as it was, decided, well, it can't be Flair and Arn's fault. Pillman and Austin, they must be a failure as a team. They break them up. And now Brian Pillman is put back in a babyface role without any push. I mean, listen, we don't talk about it a lot here on the show, but business was down in 93, not just here in WCW, but in the WWF, everybody was on the way down. And they say a lot of times that wrestling is cyclical. Do you believe that wrestling is cyclical?
Yeah, I do. And I also believe that high tide raises all ships.
Yes,
I really do. So, and I base my opinion of that on the fact that when McMahon went national and started creating WrestleManias, that amazing concept, that the Mid-South business improved because people became more aware of pro wrestling. They're seeing pro wrestling mentioned in places that the average fan was not attuned to. So it raises everybody's business goes up on one promotion is raising that tide. But yeah, it's just the Flair Arn thing. Look, I'm not blaming Flair or Arn for anything.
No,
but the problem is that we didn't have what they wanted to see apparently because the ratings were indicated such. So I don't know, man. I think that I think that everybody should share in the blame, from the announcers to everybody involved in the production of that match should take ownership of where they may have dropped the ball. I can't narrow it down to two guys. I just don't think that's fair. So again, Brian got kind of got a raw deal there, and Austin stayed afoot, stayed upright, but he was so fucking good. It's not even funny. Even then, at least that's my take on him. He was a natural, and maybe it's a blessing in disguise, Conrad, that Steve got some notoriety in the Dangerous Alliance, but his run with Brian was cut short prematurely, immensely prematurely, and it's too bad. I would love to have been different, and we could see just exactly how far those two guys, Brian and Steve, would have gone as a tag team. I just think they were like, I thought they could be like the Midnight Express or something. I thought they could be a great main event level tag team, but that was not the consensus within all the decision makers. And that happens a lot, Connie, when you've got wrestlers in charge or involved in the booking. It's not objective. It's good old boy network, except for Buddy out, all that stuff. We've got to protect this guy, we've got to protect that guy. It's just not healthy. It's not healthy. It wasn't healthy then, and it's sure as hell not healthy now, and it still exists in pro wrestling.
SaveWithConrad.com. My name's Daryl. Came from Massachusetts, and I moved to Wisconsin. And there's a lot of people that might be asking, why go with Conrad? Why go with Supreme Lending? And let me tell you something, brother. I think about the credentials, the tag team partner that I'd be working with. First of all, we got the podfather himself, Conrad. How can you go wrong with that? And then also go on to SaveWithEric.com, which, who else could have kicked Vince's ass for 83 consecutive weeks? You can't beat that duo right there. But they did bring a secret weapon, and I didn't realize this because this was not advertised. I worked closely with Larry the Axe Thompson. And let me tell you, with all the stress with moving across the country with a large family that I have, it was reassuring to know that I had the enforcer at my back, handling questions from the other side of sellers, the other side with trying to find the right prices. He took care of all that. All I had to do was keep my eye on the prize and make it there to Wisconsin. They were absolutely fantastic. They checked in on me, especially Francis, very patient with me. I don't go through this process all the time, so I trusted the experts. I was able to call them. They called me if they had questions, and it felt like it was a personal arrangement. There was even a point in which, from the seller side, they wanted something else that wasn't part of the norm. Francis straight up told me, hey, we're loyal to you. We'll do whatever you want to do, and we'll make sure that you guys are taken care of. They came through. I made it to the dream. I'm the champion of my own destiny here. They were able to help pave the way for me and my family. I couldn't be more happy with the results. I went from having less than an acre to now 20 acres worth of land. They made that dream a reality. I'm Daryl, and I'm living in Friendship, Wisconsin, in my dream home, thanks to SaveWithConrad.com.
NMLS number 2129, Equal Housing Lender. SaveWithConrad.com.